It's been a long 4 years since Persona 5 was originally released in Japan. Following the Atlus tradition of re-releasing their mainline Persona games with new content comes Persona 5 Royale. Like Persona 3 Fez and Persona 4 Golden before it, this new iteration on the 5th main installment adds a new semester, new characters, and a new palace post-game that wraps up the Tokyo gang story with a neat little bow. Persona 5 Royale tells a story that tackles the structure of human society, morality, and what can be considered justice. It's a story that tackles hard questions to ask and even harder questions to answer. Back when it was released in 2016 in Japan, it came at a time where the world felt like it had come at a standstill, and those feelings have only gotten stronger with the political climate in 2020 and the world seemingly falling apart. The added story content with Royal fleshes out those aspects of the narrative, both with the characters you love and hate in the game. A lot of the content in Royal helps you come to understand these characters' motives and psyche, despite whether you agree with it or not. While it may seem like a retelling on paper, it recontextualizes the narrative from before, making it feel more relevant in the process. Having played Persona 5 before, I didn't expect to see a lot of changes right away, but upon starting the story, I was immediately introduced to a new opening and version of the gameplay introduction, hinting at what was to come in the future. It wasn't a complete rehaul per se, but the added spice was a taste of the flavorful new story interpretation I was about to experience. For those that have played Persona 5 before, you'll find what you loved about the original here, but enhanced with new characters, new revelations of those characters, and ultimately a more complete feeling experience by the end of the 120-hour adventure. Better for those that are jumping into Persona 5 for the first time, you'll get the best version of the game both in terms of gameplay and story. A beautiful balance of expert-level gameplay design and a narrative that intertwines social sim aspects, a great battle system, and harsh reality. By day, you're an ordinary high schooler living in Japan, and by night, you're deep into the supernatural vigilante nightlife of serving justice as you see fit. They're a complete contrast of one another, but Royal finds a way to mesh both into one of the best designed JRPGs of the generation. Connecting with your classmates, hanging out with them, romanticizing them, and just getting to know them, all play an important role for the gameplay and its story. These aren't one-dimensional characters, each one is filled with backstories of society wronging them in some sort of shape or fashion, backdrops that are completely relatable to teens and young adults alike. Learning more about these characters not only made me care more about them, but I was rewarded with evolving relationships and battle buffs during palace raids. Persona 5 Royale also refines the ways you can develop these relationships. It's no secret that the Persona series limits your time during the day, with some characters being only approachable during certain times of the week. Royal adds phone calls that let you progress those relationships over calls rather than just meetups, with Royal adding new social scenes and characters, like aspiring competitive gymnast Kasumi Oshizawa and new favorite school counselor Takuto Moriki. Being able to start more confidants is surely appreciated. On top of the relationships, there are new areas to explore, like Kichijoji. These new areas introduce not only new activities to do with your party, but new scenarios to explore in one of the larger hub areas in Persona 5. This is not only touching the daytime elements, but by night, we're phantom thieves. We're invading palaces, aka the manifestations of people's hearts, and trying to change them for the better in search of justice. While palaces will feel mostly familiar, there have been some changes made. For example, layouts feature minor changes that help accommodate the new additions, such as Joker's grappling hook and the will seed item that helps replenish your SP. The less individually designed mementos dungeons aren't as revamped, but do offer more items and rewards to better offset the less exciting labyrinths to explore. Ultimately, the biggest changes in gameplay come from the battle system and the battles themselves. Palace bosses now feature multiple phases, minions, and even new forms to keep veterans like myself on my feet even during familiar boss fights. Likewise, there are new attacks for us to use, like Showtime attacks that put two team members together for a brutal attack. The baton pass mechanic has also seen a buff with more damage and replenishing of HP and SP. That's even yet to mention that your ammo now refills at the end of every battle, but you have a lot less of it. Persona 5 Royale sees a plethora of refinement in its gameplay for the better, while adding on an exclusive new semester taking place in the following winter. In comparison to the rest of the game, it stands out as a completely different tone, but still acting as a better resolution than the vanilla game's conclusion. With a total of 3 new endings, this surely isn't Atlus's last surprise. Persona 5 exuded style and flair despite technically being a last generation game ported over to current generation hardware. It admittedly looks like a slightly better Catherine game, and while it's gotten a resolution bump on PS4 Pro, Persona 5 Royale still looks mostly the same. Luckily, that's not a bad thing, as it's easily one of the best looking games on PS4 in terms of design. The design of the UI and animation transitions between them still stun me to this day. It's absolutely glorious to perform an all-out attack and have the call-out animation jump onto the screen. Atlus truly is a masterclass developer when it comes to user interfaces, and Persona 5 is their crown achievement. New cutscenes are beautifully animated to look like a Persona 5 anime. The brand new opening comes to mind specifically that shows the veteran cast of characters and newcomers to the series as well. However, I do wish we would have seen some more attention to detail with the textures, as some parts like the new Kichijoji area still feature a mix of low and high quality sign textures. I loved Persona 5's soundtrack, and I admittedly was a bit worried when I heard that the new songs would be added to Royal, including a new battle theme. Last Surprise was my jam, to hear that a new track was coming for fights, I don't know about that one, Chief. Thankfully, Atlus has done it again. Fan favorites like Rivers in the Desert and Life Will Change continue to slap, while newcomer songs like Take Over and Colors Flying High are bangers. The collection of new and old tracks cultivate in a variety of emotions for the story's highs and lows. They all play a part in featuring a great payoff due in part to the fitting music accompanying each vital scene. Persona 5 Royale is the best version of Persona 5 to date. That's no surprise. What does surprise is just how much more of an improvement this release is. It's easy to dismiss this as a $60 repurchase for some new endgame content, but Royal is so much more than that. Its gameplay is refined, its story has been rewritten for the better with a more fulfilling conclusion, and its presentation is polished up with new songs and scene. Persona 5 Royale steals your heart, and what's beneath the mask is nothing short of excellence.